Alright, what's up? We're gonna be in for a long film study today, and as you guys know, for the long film studies, for the long breakdowns, I put some of it on YouTube, and then the whole version is gonna be on Patreon. So today's breakdown is going to be Rosendo Alvarez versus Finito Lopez. If you want to see the full breakdown, it's gonna be on Patreon. I mean, nobody's forcing you, but you know, this is just not complete, man. This is not gonna be complete if you try to watch this one, but you're gonna be able to take away some stuff in it. So let's get right into it. I'll transfer you over to the actual video. Peace. What's going on, guys? This is the Boxing Genius here, and today we are going to talk about the Rosendo Alvarez versus Finito Lopez fight. And this is going to be the rematch. To me, this is the toughest fight for Finito Lopez, but the way he dealt with it and the way he adjusted in the middle of the fight is really amazing. He had the bloodier face, but he definitely won in my eyes. So let's get right into it. Now, one thing that Rosendo Alvarez took advantage of, okay, which Finito Lopez does all the time, is the lunging jab, okay? So over here, you're gonna see him throw a jab, step in hard to it, right? Put all his weight on the front leg, as you can see. And then Rosendo will take advantage of this later on by countering it with the right hand over the top. Let's look at a couple more clips here. He's gonna again lunge in with that jab, okay? Very heavy on the front foot. The heavier you are on the front foot, the closer you are to your opponent. And so Rosendo Alvarez took advantage of this by moving his head inside of that lead hand and then countering with the right hand over the top here, which failed to land, but it's gonna be a little more lethal, or it's gonna be a little more dangerous later on in the fight because Rosendo Alvarez started landing in more. Let's look at a couple more here. Okay, so he's gonna throw another jab, keeping that long guard, or that high guard, I should say. Again, lunging in right here. Alvarez, oh, this is the same punch. Alvarez will try to counter over the top, but he failed to land. Let's look at another clip. Okay. Lopez will again lunge in with a jab, and let's see if it lands here. I can't really see based on a camera angle. Let's look at that one more time. He's gonna lunge in again, step in hard with the jab. And this is the thing about Finito Lopez. Finito Lopez throws his jab so powerful, in a very powerful manner, that he finds it hard to step back. The reason why is because he plants his feet so hard to the ground. And if you look back at my Finito Lopez video, that is clearly evident because the nature of his punching style is, you know, planting his feet hard and then putting all his weight on one leg in order to throw those power shots. So again here, he's gonna throw the jab. Alvarez will counter over the top with a right hand. And so, with that being said now, or with that happening, Ricardo Lopez became more cautious later on in the fight. And what did he do in order to combat that? Well, it's pretty simple. Okay, so look at this. He's gonna throw the jab here. Boom. And he sees that whenever Rosendo Alvarez throws the right hand, he leans over to this side, okay? Which means that it's also on the path for the right hand. And so instead of worrying about the right hand over the top that's going to come from Rosendo Alvarez, what Ricardo Lopez is going to worry about is landing his right hand first, which means that he's going to beat the counter of Rosendo Alvarez by throwing his own straight right hand. So just look at this, boom. Okay, so his head is very much on the path for the right hand of Ricardo Lopez, and so that's why Ricardo Lopez took advantage of that habit. Okay, let's see some more here. He's gonna, again, counter the right hand, or counter the right hand counter, okay? Look at this. Alvarez will try to counter him with the right hand once again. This is gonna be round one. He's gonna jab here. On this one, Rosendo Alvarez will not come inside the jab of Ricardo Lopez. In fact, he's gonna actually slip outside first. So Ricardo Lopez will throw this jab. Kaboom, he's gonna slip outside first. And then he's gonna try to counter, right? But again, it all ends up in the same place. His head ends up in the same place whenever he tries to counter the right hand. Okay, so his head is on the path of the right hand of Ricardo Lopez. So Lopez started to see that pattern ongoing all the time. And so here, he tries to throw a right hand, but the problem was that Alvarez was too close. This is it right here. Problem was, he didn't land his right hand because Alvarez was too close. Boom. Okay. Well, I think this next one is gonna land. Let's see. Boom. Alright, so again, he's gonna slip inside, he's gonna try to put himself in the position to throw the right hand over the top, but then because Lopez started to see that pattern ongoing all the time, he's gonna try to beat him into the punch by throwing a straight right hand first. Kaboom. Which again, that didn't land really. But it keeps him cautious, and that's the thing about this fight. A lot of the punches that they were throwing, or that they threw, weren't really landing, but it kept their opponent guessing, okay? So whatever punch Rosendo Alvarez threw, it kept Ricardo Lopez guessing. And whatever Ricardo Lopez threw kept Rosendo Alvarez guessing as well. So it's not really much of a landing game, it's more of a hesitant, or it's more about hesitation for this fight, okay? So all the punches that they were throwing made the other opponent hesitate whenever they plan on throwing their counter shot. And that's certainly what happened here. In the first couple of rounds, nothing really landed cleanly, but because all of their punches was so close to landing, it kept each other guessing, or it kept them guessing. So Lopez's counters Lopez's punches kept Rosendo Alvarez guessing, and then on the other hand, Rosendo Alvarez's counters kept Ricardo Lopez guessing. And for the early rounds, they really held back. If you notice, okay? Now let's look at the lead left hook of Ricardo Lopez, which he used in order to neutralize the right hand of Rosendo Alvarez. Now, because Rosendo Alvarez doesn't really have the best head movement out there, what Ricardo Lopez decided to do is he decided to neutralize the right hand of Rosendo Alvarez by throwing the lead left hook. So over here, he's gonna, again, give the impression that he's about to throw the lunging jab, baiting Rosendo Alvarez to throw the counter right hand. Okay, so he puts himself in the position where he's gonna look like he's gonna throw the lunging jab, and because of that, the natural response from Rosendo Alvarez is throwing the counter right hand over the top, which Ricardo Lopez didn't really throw the jab. In fact, he slipped outside at the last second, and then he led with the left hook, catching Rosendo Alvarez off guard. And again, it didn't land, but it kept Rosendo Alvarez guessing for the entirety of the fight. Let's look at the second one, okay? Again, he's gonna put himself in the position for the lunging jab, I think, right here. Well, actually, he's gonna throw a jab first, and then he's gonna throw a lead left hook after this. So he's gonna slip inside, and then he's gonna keep his head away from the center line, and then from there he's gonna throw a lead left hook, as opposed to a jab which is very vulnerable to the counter right hand. The lead left hook is much harder to counter when it comes to like the right hand over the top, because your arms tend to be a little bit higher up, okay? When you're throwing jab, your shoulders are a little bit lower, so you don't have that much protection. Now the next thing that he did was he combined the two. Okay, so Finito Lopez decided to combine the two. He decided to combine the jab and then the hook. He followed it up with the hook. So the jab was used to bait a response from Rosendo Alvarez, and then he followed it up with a hook afterwards. So let's see this one. He's gonna throw a jab first, boom, and then he's gonna bait a response from Rosendo Alvarez. I don't know why he didn't throw a right hand here, but he's gonna bait a response from Rosendo Alvarez, and then he's gonna counter the right hand over the top with a left hook. Okay, so it's just all about countering the counter here, and again, that did not necessarily land. Let's see it once again so we can see. He's gonna throw a jab, bait a reaction from Rosendo Alvarez, and then let's see if this one lands. Now, it didn't really land, but as you can see there, it's much harder to counter the right hand, or it's much harder to counter the left hook with the right hand over the top than it is to counter the jab with the right hand over the top. So as you can see here, because the arms of Ricardo Alvarez, or Ricardo Lopez, was extended much further and it was higher up, the right hand of Rosendo Alvarez was much more difficult. He found a much more difficult time in order to land that shot. And the reason why is because, like I said, the left hook is much harder to land, or it's much harder to counter than the jab. The jab is pretty easy to counter, honestly, because it's a straight line coming in, right? So let's see another jab hook here. He's gonna throw another jab. Well, my timestamp is a little bit delayed. He's gonna throw a jab again, baiting a response from Rosendo Alvarez. He's gonna frame the head to make sure that the head of Rosendo Alvarez stays there for the duration of this counter. And then he's gonna counter with a left hook. Okay, so he's gonna counter the right hand with a left hook. Boom. Again, it did not land. It was more the wrist. It was more the wrist which really hit the back of the head of Rosendo Alvarez. But this was a guessing game, okay? This entire fight was a guessing game, and so a lot of the punches did not land, but it kept the other guy guessing. And this is what defines a technical match. A technical match doesn't have to be a brawl. A technical match just have to be a set of strategies which keeps the other guy guessing. And that's what these two fighters demonstrated in the early rounds.